Rise and shine, beloved. Rise and shine. Come on in. Let me go ahead over here to make sure we're live. Let me throw a great grand rising up here and then we'll be good to go. All right. Not here yet. Let me refresh one more time. There we go. All right. Let me put, make sure we're live. All right. There we go. Let me just throw a comment up here. Grand rising. Happy March. We are ready to spring forward. Come on in, take a moment, tag your friends, family member, let them know Spiritual Success TV is live. All right. So let's go ahead and connect in as we always do in our community. And we're going to go ahead and sit with good posture. And go ahead and take a good healing deep breath in. Come on, one really good. And exhale. Relax from the crown of your head all the way down to the soles of your feet. Anchor yourself here and we are ready to go. All right. So today is all about pattern disruptions. All right. Pattern disruptions. We want to really be able to disrupt every pattern that's in our life. Let me just zoom this up just a little bit and then we'll be ready to go. All right. Yeah. All right. So, have you been observing patterns in your life instead of reframing them and rewriting them? We talked last week about awareness, and awareness is the beginning of sovereignty. Put that in your notes. Awareness is the beginning of sovereignty. Seeing a pattern is powerful. We don't want to take light of that. You know, Dimension 1 in the Spiritual Success community is awareness. That is the key to start the freedom process. So awareness is the beginning of sovereignty, right? Seeing a pattern is powerful, but seeing is not sovereignty. You can be aware and still be stuck. You can be aware and still be stuck. You can recognize the cycle, but still repeat it. I just want that to sit with us for a moment. You can be aware of your pattern, your habit, the behavior, the limiting belief, and still be stuck in it. You can recognize the cycle and still repeat it. Why is that possible? It's possible because awareness, listen now, awareness without ownership will keep you informed but not transformed. Awareness without ownership will keep you informed but not transformed. So now, beloved, it is time to be completely honest with yourself and truly disrupt recurring patterns. That is what we really want to settle into. We want to start disrupting recurring patterns and actions that take courage, right? We want to interrupt recurring patterns and take action. And taking action takes courage. I want us to really sit with this because this is the missing piece that most of us fall into. So from last week, as a recap, we said that you cannot transform what you refuse to see, right? That was number one. You cannot transform what you refuse to see. Many people say that they want change, but what they really want is change without confrontation. Change without confrontation. They want new outcomes without new honesty. And you can't get new outcome without new honesty, right? So we just want to sit with that, right? You cannot transform what you cannot see. And new outcomes require new honesty. I want you to sit with that. New honesty. So recapping from last week, We recognize that the truth is what you refuse to see, you will repeat. What you repeat, you will normalize. What you normalize becomes your identity. And your identity starts shaping your reality. So let's look at where you are right now. You're conscious. You're not asleep. You're not unaware. You can see the pattern. You can see the relationship dynamic. You can see the financial cycle. You can see the emotional triggers. You can see where you shrink and hide. You can see where you overextend yourself. You can see all of that. Awareness is not your problem. That's no longer the problem. Thank goodness. We are progressing and moving and growing. We stepped into dimension 1 of awareness. You started being the conscious observer in your life. You recognize that you are not the pattern, but you are the observer of the pattern. That's awareness, right? Awareness opens the door. But today we want to begin to activate sovereignty that will allow you to walk through that door, right? Because awareness, listen, beloved, without a decision quietly becomes delay. Awareness without a quality decision quietly becomes delay. Delay dressed up as processing. Come on, y'all, let's tell the truth about it. I tell you, I could be the queen of processing back in the day, right? Good morning, Reese. Good morning, Marcus. Thanks for joining us live, right? Awareness without a decision quietly becomes delay. Delay, dressed up as processing, can keep a powerful person like you stalled, stuck, paused for years. I really want you to sink in, and I want you to start chewing this, digesting it, because today we want to activate you so that you can move from processing, move from addiction, awareness addiction, as I call it, into pattern disruption. Awareness will give you pattern recognition, but sovereignty will help you activate pattern disruption. So sovereignty begins the moment you stop saying, this is just how I am. This is my pattern. You know, this always happens to me. I notice that every couple of years I go through this cycle. That's recognition. That is awareness. But sovereignty begins the moment you stop the madness. And for me, I call the madness the cycle that just keeps repeating. When you start asking, and I want you to write this in your notes. Excuse me, something's on my last today. When you start asking the question, and I want you to write this in your notes, and we're going to take 30 minutes, 30 seconds to see what comes up for you. What am I participating in? Write it down. Deep breath in. Exhale. What am I participating in? My poverty, my isolation, my self-betrayal, my self-loathing. What am I participating in? This is not blame. This is power. Sit with that. Y'all talk back to me. Come on, what's coming up? No right or wrong. Just let whatever needs to come up, come up. What am I participating in? Keeping myself small, keeping myself hidden, running after bright, shiny objects, listening to what everybody else is saying, copying what everyone else is doing. What am I participating in? Again, this is not blame, beloved. It's power. So when we start talking about sovereignty, sovereignty is not control over others. Remember, in our community, as I work one-on-one and in small groups, what do we always do? We bring everything back home to us, to ourselves. You bring it back to you. Sovereignty is never about control over others. It's about clarity about yourself. Sovereignty is not about control over others. It is clarity about yourself. And the more clarity you have about yourself, the more you position yourself in power. So, sovereignty is the moment that you reclaim, listen, your response. Come on, it's not about other people. It's not about what they're doing. Sovereignty is about the moment you reclaim your response, your boundaries. Boundaries are extremely important. Your agreements, that include negative vows, right? That includes decisions you made in anxiety, decisions you made in comparison and competing. The moment you reclaim your energy and you refuse to live in frantic anxiety, you refuse to just allow your emotions to be all over the place. Sovereignty begins when you reclaim the narrative of your life. We talked about this last week, that I really want you hearing the narrative of your life. What are you repeating over and over to everyone and to yourself as well? What is that narrative saying about you? Most people live with this narrative of themselves, and the narrative shows up in every area of your life. Your relationships, your finances, your health, your career, your calling. That narrative shows up, and you may have a different narrative for different categories, right? But we want to activate sovereignty today. We want to activate the ability to make quality decisions, because most people live in outsourced authority. Please put that in your notes. Most people live in outsourced authority. Just like how different corporations may outsource different parts, of their operation. They may outsource, different responsibilities. You don't want to be a person that's outsourcing your authority. We want to call everything back home. When you outsource your authority, you let other people define your worth. You let other people tell you what you're worth. That is the same thing like when you go for a job and you want to negotiate salary. You are letting people dictate your worth, right? So I know most of you have seen these AI memes that's been on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and it is an image of a Jewish person, and they're talking about how they think, what their mindset is. And one of the things that struck me, talking about defining your worth, this meme said that Jewish people only spend 3 years on a job. And it went into explain all the logic and the reasoning behind it. But in a nutshell, what was being said is that the first year you learn the job, the second year you master the job, the third year, you're ready to expand, but they say expand somewhere else, because industries rarely pay you what you're worth the longer you stay. Some of y'all can identify with that, some not. And they take all of that information that they gathered over 3 years, take it to somewhere else, because you all know this is true. Many companies will pay higher wages for people coming in than people that's been there for years, all right? So we don't want to outsource authority. You don't want to let other people define your worth. I want you to just sit with that for a moment. I want to sit with that for a moment. I want to chew that and digest that. When you outsource authority, you allow circumstances to dictate your emotions. You allow circumstance to dictate your emotion. You allow fear to determine the timing of what you do. Beloved, this is so real. I could really stop right here. Outsourcing your authority, you allow comfort to determine your growth. Sit with that. When you outsource authority, you allow other people to determine your worth. You let circumstances dictate your emotions. You react to everything happening on the outside rather than tapping in. Fear determines your timing. You will not take the step. You will not activate. You will not launch. You will stall because fear is determining your timing. You allow your comfort to determine your growth. Oh, I could stop right here. Y'all talk back to me today. Come on. If any of this resonates, if you have recognized yourself falling into any one of those 4 categories, come on, y'all talk back to me. Right? If you are a hider, then you're going to allow comfort to determine your growth. You're going to allow circumstances to dictate your emotions. If you are a pusher, you're going to let other people determine your wealth, and you're going to push into trying to become worthy of other people's validation. So this week, I'm not challenging you to see more. This week is about deciding more. Put that in your notes. Deciding more. It's about training yourself how to make a quality decision. And a quality decision equals action. Please write that down. A quality decision is non-negotiable. And we want to start training ourselves. One teeny tiny decision at a time. Just one. One teeny tiny decision at a time. I'm going to make a quality decision. I'm going to be healthy. Non-negotiable. I'm going to make a quality decision to come out of survival mode and start thriving financially. Quality decision, non-negotiable. And then you start bringing in the tools, the spiritual success tools, to start supporting you and sticking with, tracking, and celebrating accomplishment. One of my favorite spiritual success tools is the 1 in 7. It is a activation guide that will start transformation immediately because it shows you how to create new habit. From your desire to your decision. And we do that one thing every day for 7 days. And that starts the habit cycle. When you get through the first 7, there are some pitfalls in the first 7 days that we want to help you to avoid. You want to start creating new winning habits, all right? So a quality decision is non-negotiable, but it equals action. Taking action steps. Oh my gosh, y'all. Y'all don't do me right. I'm sitting up here with all of this lipstick on my teeth, and nobody sent me a message. Come on, Lisa, Reese, Marcus, Brian. Y'all can't do me like that. All right? So now, sovereignty begins when you say no more. No more. Not out of weakness, not as addiction to awareness, but when you say no more to awareness addiction. Come on, y'all, talk back to me. I'm not seeing no activity, and I'm thinking the screen is frozen. All right? Sovereignty says no more with just awareness addiction. I don't want to just be always introspecting and looking, but I want to learn how to make a quality decision. and have the courage to take action on what I say, not start it and then stall and then go right back into the pattern again. All right. So we don't want to force anything because we recognize we don't force anything. We don't blame ourselves. We don't go into shame about anything, but you want to say no more from inauthority. Let's sit with that. Coming back home, tapping into your inner authority. No more awareness addiction. Awareness is powerful. That's step one. But at some point, we have to shift from being informed to start activating transformation. Transformation begins with sovereignty, and sovereignty is about reclaiming your authority, reclaiming your God self. And we all know you cannot do that without going in. So you are not here. You're not here in this realm to endlessly analyze your life. We have to come out of analysis paralysis. You're not here to endlessly analyze your life, but at some point, and that point is today, you make a decision. Pattern disruption. Now put that in your notes because that's what it's all about. It's all about disrupting the pattern. If we don't start taking steps to disrupt the pattern, we will stay in an endless recurring cycle of patterns and habits and mediocre living. We will just stay stuck. Over and over and over again, we'll stay stuck, right? I'm taking authority over my life. And authority, yes, is about leading your life. Yes, Reese, leading your life. So let me ask you plainly, what pattern are you fully aware of, but still permitting it to operate in your life? Let's breathe and relax. What pattern are you fully aware of, but you're still permitting it to operate? I hear somebody say, Dr. E is several, it's not just one. Right? We're going to start right here today. We're going to activate sovereignty. Because sovereignty doesn't begin when circumstances change. Please put that in your notes. Sovereignty begins not when circumstances change, not when other people adjust or when other people make changes, right? Come on, we're coming back home. It's all about you. Sovereignty begins when you interrupt what you have been tolerating. What you have been tolerating, all right? Yet Reese said, yes, it's a few. Yes, it's a few. I can say that as well. Yes, it's a few. When you interrupt what you've been tolerating, and beloved, this is gentleness. This is ease, right? This is not about force. It's not about blame. It's not about shame, right? Blame says, if I hadn't have done A, B, or C, if they hadn't instigated this, if the economy, if the job, if my supervisor, if my husband, if my parents, that's blame. Shame says, I am wrong. Something's wrong with me. I don't work. I'm a misfit. Nobody wants me. No one loves me. That's not sovereignty. So right now in the comments, I want you to just type, rewrite, rewrite, rewrite. We have to interrupt the pattern and reframe it and rewrite it. We have to rewrite it, write the story. Because awareness, beloved, will open the door. I always say that's the key to freedom, right? It opens the door, but sovereignty allows you to walk through it and command changes. Y'all, that's good right there. Awareness opens the door. It allows you to see. It allows you to identify. But sovereignty allows you to walk through that door and command change, not demand, right? Remember, demand is a 3D vibration, but command means you are sitting in your seat of authority. So let's get into this, because we want to be able to identify and activate sovereignty. Sovereignty isn't control. Again, it is clarity. So what we want to do now, we want to stop outsourcing. Stop outsourcing truth of your own inner wisdom. This is big right here, because many of you are powerful. You're intuitive. You're prophetic. You are gifted. You are sound. We want to stop outsourcing our truth, which is your own inner wisdom. I've done this for years. What does that look like? You defer to other people. You defer to the trend. You defer to all the gurus that are saying this is the way to do something. This is so real, beloved. It is so real. And I know you can identify with this, and y'all talk back to me. Tell me when you have outsourced your inner wisdom to defer to a trend, to a quote unquote expert. God has changed my story. I have been rewriting. It has been rewritten. Yes, beautiful, Reese. Beautiful. Rewrite that story. Rewrite that story. Because, beloved, you've got to change that original information that's fueling the pattern. That's why we're rewriting. You have to change the information that's fueling that pattern, that original information. The original information has to be rewritten. It has to be reframed. The energy around it has to be recalibrated. So we rewrite. Have you ever did not listen to your own inner wisdom to hear your buddy, to hear the prayer partner, to hear, your coworker, to hear a family member, to hear a trend? Come on, y'all, talk back to me. I've done this so many times, because I thought they had the better blueprint. But trust me when I tell you, you have to begin to trust your inner wisdom. So we're activating sovereignty right here. We want to stop outsourcing our worth, abandoning your God self, your essential self, to start acting like the other people, fitting in, becoming the chameleon. When you don't own your self-worth and honor and value who you are, then you start activating and defaulting into chameleon lifestyle. And some of us that are gifted can be anything. I'm one of them. I could be anything at any time. But we don't want to do that where it takes away from our worth. We want to activate sovereignty when it comes to permission. Stop waiting for permission to succeed. Stop waiting for all conditions to be perfect. Stop waiting for everyone to agree with you. Give yourself permission. The last thing is your direction. We often say you have to start from the end. You start with your destination in view. So 3 signs that you are outsourcing: you constantly look for validation. I'm just saying it again a different way. You're always looking for validation to decide, looking for the circumstances to be agreeable before you decide. You override, this is a big one, back to comfort again. You override your inner knowing for comfort. Beloved, this is a key. Anytime you feel uncomfortable, you feel stretched, that lets you know you are right at the precipice of change. You are right there. One step, one sneeze, one thank you, one gratitude will put you over, but you feel so uncomfortable. And if your energy centers are not balanced properly, you get sick. You have digestive issues. You have headache issues. You have pains all through your body that nobody can explain. All of that is to pull you back into shrinking and hiding. You keep hoping for external change, but it never happens because you're not allowing yourself to be at peace. So reframe. It's time to release awareness addiction and start rewriting the original information that created the pattern. So pattern disruption equals the moment you come back into the driver's seat. This is ownership. This is authority, as Reese said. I'm taking control of my life. Beloved, I encourage you, get back in the driver's seat, right? Take authority over your life. Honor your God self. So here is the 3-step prong for us today. Number 1, recognizing what is true for you right now in this moment. What is true? As I asked the question earlier, what am I participating in? What am I still allowing? What am I aware of that I'm just informed, but I'm not transforming it? Beloved, we're going to lock down and we're going to make this work. Number 2, you're going to reclaim, right? Reclaim your authority. Reclaim your boundaries. Reclaim your mental and emotional energy. Reclaim your response. You want to reclaim your divine self, your sovereign self. And then you want to rewrite, this is the key, so that you can redirect. Put that in your notes. This is a new agreement I'm making with myself. We're going to do one. Just one teeny tiny decision. But we want it to be a quality decision. We want it to be non-negotiable. This is the new agreement I'm making. I'm rewriting the original information that created the pattern. All right? So now instead of the narrative that we used to tell ourselves, right? Instead of the narrative that no longer serves us, we're going to rewrite that. I have to keep stressing this. You want to rewrite that original information because it was those activating statements that got you here. It's where you kept putting your focus. Rewrite. Yes. He has now given me the power to meet. Exactly. Yes. When you realize that the power is in your court and you are holding the power and authority, you can declare today, come on with me, declare today, I stop abandoning myself right here, right now. Every time you outsource, every time you shrink your self-worth, every time you lose focus, you are abandoning your God self. This is so good. Today, I stop abandoning my God self. I'm returning to my inner authority. And I'm choosing to rewrite the original information so that I can redirect my energy, my focus, my action. What are we saying in a nutshell, beloved? Today is March 1st. We're going to seed new ground today. What's the new ground we're seeding? I stop abandoning myself. I reframe. I rewrite. I redirect my focus, my attention, my energy. You're learning how to make a quality decision. Just one. Just one. Ask your heart, the Holy Spirit, right? Your God self within. Breathe and ask. What is the most critical action for me to take now? And let your heart lead you. You may want it to be one thing, but your heart knows it needs to be something else. Deep breath in. Exhale. Any thought, question, comment, feedback, anything you need support around, any question on your mind, let's take a couple minutes and get some help and get some support, right? Because we know that time is of the essence, beloved. We are already in March. In a few days, we're going to be at the end of Q1. This is the time for the energy of spring to start coming alive. It's time to spring forward and take action over everything that we've done in the winter months. We're preparing for the new year. The time to start seeding so that by the fall of the year, we are reaping a harvest. Come on, somebody talk to me. I'm committed to seeing things differently. I am committed to seeing things differently. I am committed to rewriting and redirecting energy. I am committed. Thought, question, comment, feedback before we go. We are rewriting. All right. So today is March 1st. Let's really be a blessing. Let's sow seed today. That wasn't supposed to pop up there. What we're supposed to be doing. Look, this thing is just acting loopy. All right, there we go. Let's sow seed today. Let's lose the number 3 and the number 1. And let's sow a $31 seed today. We want to water this seed. We're going to stay with this throughout the month so that we start pattern interruption, pattern disruption, start rewriting, reframing, redirecting, and seeing beautiful change. All right? So with that being said, beloved, I'm going to release you with many blessings for your day, for your week. I was aiming to get this up, and then something else just popped up, but here we go. These are all the ways to sow. This is for the replay. I know you guys know. This is for those who catch the replay later. They will be able to see all the different ways that they can sow. All right? So, beloved, I'm going to go ahead and release you with many blessings for the rest of your day, the rest of your week, until our next Spiritual Success Connection. Bye for now.